I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so. It will really mean a lot to me, for that is the encouragement I get in putting up these lovely videos. Alright, in this video, we are going to learn how to draft a half scale body. A half scale body simply means a body that stops at the waist. In our last tutorial, we learned how to draft a full scale bodice. A full scale body simply means a bodice that contains the hip. A full scale bodice is very much important when you want to sew a blouse, while a half scale bodice is very much important when you want to sew a dress that has a cut from the waist. So these are the measurements we need in order to draft this half scale bodice. I divided my paper into two equal parts. The right side is the center front, while the left side is the center back. So at the center back, I mapped out 1 inch zipper allowance. Then from the edge of my paper, I came down by 1 inch and I drew an horizontal line that will serve as the shoulder line. So at the center front, I am inputting my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'm doing the same thing at the center back. So you are starting from the zipper allowance you marked while inputting your shoulder measurement, okay? So I'm marking 3 inches width and 3 inches depth for the center front neckline. Then at the center back, I will mark 3 inches width and 1 inch depth for my center back neckline. So at the shoulder point, I will come down by 1 inch. That will serve as my shoulder slant. I will do the same thing at the center front. If you've watched my video on how I draft the full scale bodice, you will understand this easily. So from the shoulder slant, I will put in 7.5. That is my armhole depth. Okay. So I'm marking my armhole depth like that. I simply want to have a straight horizontal line. That is why I'm marking those measurements all the way. Then I'll connect it like that. So that will serve as my chest line. So on the chest line, I will bring down the measurements I have on my shoulder line so that I can be able to connect a straight line. Okay, I will do the same thing at the center back, simply bringing down my shoulder measurement down to the chest line so that I can connect a straight line. So I'm marking my bust point, which is 10 inches, and I will connect an horizontal line. So I'll go ahead to mark my under bust length. Then I'll also mark my front length. Okay, my under bust length and my front length. Then I'll connect these 2 points with an horizontal line. Okay. So at the center back, I'm marking my back length. And I'll connect it with an horizontal line. So you will notice that the front and back are not the same. The front is longer than the back. If you've watched my previous video, you will know the reason. So at the armhole, I'm getting the center point of the armhole. So from that point, I'm coming in by ½ inch. Okay, I'm drawing a line like that. Do the same thing on your own pattern. And on that line, I will come in by 0.75 at the center back, and at the center front, I'm coming out by 0.5 inch. Then I'll connect it like that. So I'm connecting the armhole like that. Okay, so I will come in by 0.75 at the center front neckline, and I'm connecting my neck cuff like that. Okay, I'll do the same thing at the center back, simply coming in by 0.75. This will help me connect my neck cuff very well. So at the chest line, I'm going to input my bust circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. At the waistline, I'm inputting my waist circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches that allowance and 1 inch seam allowance. Then I'll connect my lines like that. At the center back, on the chest line, I'm inputting my bust circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. On the waistline, I'm inputting my waist circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance and 1 inch dart allowance. So I will connect my lines. So I'm going to input my bust span divided by 2 on the bust point line, under bust line and waistline, and I'm going to connect it like that. So at the waistline, I am inputting 0.75 inch on each side of the dart line. On the bust point, I came down by 1 inch. Then I'm connecting my dart like that. Then at the center back, I'm inputting my bust span divided by 2 on the chest line and on the waistline, and I will connect a vertical line like so. Then I'm taking in 1/2 inch on each side of the dart line. That is the 1 inch dart allowance I added. Then I'm connecting the dart like so. So you can notice the lengths of the center front and back are not equal. So the difference between these two lengths, that is what I'm going to input as my bust dart. Okay, so my bust dart is 2 inches. Okay, because my front length is 16.5 while my back length is 14.5. So the difference is 2 inches, and that is what I use for my bust dart. So to eliminate the back bulge, I'm simply coming in by 1 inch at the waistline. Then I'm measuring what I have and simply getting the center of what I have from the neckline and the chest line, and that is where I'm connecting this line, you can see. So the 1 inch I take away from the waist, I'm simply adding it back to avoid shortage. So I've explained all this in my previous videos, so I believe that if you've been watching it, all this will seem very easy for you. Okay, so I'm going to separate the front and back so that I can be able to fold my bust dart. So by the time I fold my bust dart, the two side seam will be equal. Okay, so for me to be able to fold my bust dart, I have to transfer the bust dart to the waist. So I have to open up somewhere. I have to open up the waist so that the bust dart will be transferred to the waist. So by the time I fold the bust dart, the waist will be opened. Okay, so you can't be able to fold the bust dart if you do not open anywhere. It's either you open the waist or you find the middle point of your shoulder
connect it to the bodice point, open it up so that you can transfer your bust dart there. But in this tutorial, I'm transferring my bust dart to the waist, so that is why I opened up the waist dart so that I can be able to fold my bust dart. I hope you understand this. If you don't understand anything, ask question. Drop your questions in the comment section for clarity. So I'm taping it down like that, so you can see that the two sides are now equal. So I'm adding seam allowances. I love adding seam allowances on my pattern before cutting it out. So, and that is what I'm simply doing. So guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel at this point, please kindly do so. It will really mean a lot to me. So I'm also adding 0.5 inch seam allowance at the center back neckline, shoulder line and armhole line. So before I cut off the excesses, I'm going to redraw my side seam line, because by the time I folded the bust dart, the line shifted. So that is what I did before cutting out the excesses, the paper that we are not using again. So I'll do the same thing at the back. So the essence of this half scale, you need this half scale when you want to sew a dress that have joining at the waist, okay? That's the essence of half scale. So we have our half scale bodice here with the bust dart transferred at the waist line. Alright guys, thank you guys. I will see you in the next one.